What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Harpoon Brewery, and they're out of both Boston, Massachusetts and Windsor, Vermont, and this is their Dunkin Maple Creme. So on the side of the label here, they are calling this one a blonde ale that is brewed with Dunkin' Donuts and maple with natural and artificial flavors and artificial colors added, and in parentheses they have annatto seed and turmeric extract. It also says it contains eggs, wheat, milk, and soybean. It comes in at 5.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just over 2 months old. So this is the second beer that I am reviewing from the 2021 Harpoon Dunkin Dozen Mix Pack. The first one I reviewed was their Blueberry Matcha IPA, and I also have their Dunkin Midnight, which is their coffee porter, but with the midnight roast that I believe Dunkin introduced this year. But they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to review. The Blueberry Matcha IPA, which you should see before this one, was actually pretty solid. It was really weird and different, but I enjoyed it. And this one sounds right into my wheelhouse, and that's because I love maple. I love maple cream. Anything maple dipped and maple frosted donuts are just fantastic. Now, I did a little research on this because I always hate when you see natural and artificial flavors, artificial colors, blah, blah, blah. Well, the artificial colors, specifically annatto seed and turmeric extract, are also added in their maple cream donuts for color. So I did a little bit of research because I was like, that just seems weird to me, and apparently it's in their donuts, and donuts are in here. I'm imagining that they're brewing them with the maple cream donuts, maybe not just regular old, maybe glazed or old-fashioned or something. I don't know. This one worries me a little bit, and the reason for that is because it might be too sweet. I don't know if the blonde ale base will hold up to the Dunkin' Donuts, the maple, the artificial, and natural flavors. We'll see. I'm hoping it's delicious. I love maple, so hopefully it's not too sweet. I feel like that will be the issue for me in this one, but I don't know. I'm gonna pour it in, entire thing, and then we are gonna throw it over here like that. All right, so how does it look? Well, yeah, it looks like a blonde ale. It's a little darker than a blonde ale, even in person. On camera, it's gonna be even duller and darker, but in person, it has a blonde ale kind of esque look to it, but it has more of like a deeper honey orange color. It's murky. You can't see through it. It has about a finger and a half of this very lightly tan, creamy looking head. That looks somewhat like a blonde ale, but obviously unfiltered and a little bit darker. So let's get a nose on it. Yeah, so it smells like maple. It smells 100% identical to, so I don't go to Dunkin' a lot. Here in the West New York area, Tim Hortons, if you're talking about like a big chain of donut places. And if I go there and get a donut, which is rare, but if I do, I get the maple dipped from Tim Hortons. And the smell of this is identical to the maple frosting you get in that beer, or in that donut. Yeah, I mean, it's basically maple frosting in general, but like specifically to the frosting of a donut. It's crazy. There's a slight kind of blonde ale kind of base, grainy, slightly like bready and biscuity. It's working well with the maple because it is giving you pastry-esque kind of vibes to it. I mean, obviously the frosting is gonna, make you think about the fact that they're brewing it with donuts and probably maple cream donuts, and trying to think of a maple cream donut just from the aroma itself. But yeah, the base malts are pretty much doing that as well. Just the doughy pastry portion of it. It smells really sweet though, and that maple, here's the thing, you're probably not gonna pick this up, but if you pick, as I say, you're not gonna pick this up if you don't like maple. Obviously it comes in the mixed 12 pack, but I feel like if you're smelling this, whether or not you like maple, I think it'd be hard to argue that this does not smell like the maple frosting of a donut, just in my opinion. Yeah, it smells, I mean, it's very akin to the Blueberry Matcha IPA where it doesn't have a lot of complexity. That one was pretty much blueberry muffin, crystallized sugar and all. And this is basically maple frosting on a maple dipped, maple frosted donut. That's what it is. There's not a whole lot else going on, so hopefully this isn't too sweet. It smells pretty good, albeit quite sweet, so we'll see. Anyway, cheers, everyone. Okay, the finish is pretty solid. The beer overall, though, This honestly reminds me of a beer from the 2020 Dunkin Dozen Mix Pack, which was their Boston Cream Stout. It was a Boston cream inspired stout, and the nose screamed Boston cream donut, like it did. You know, from the whole donut encompassed like the aroma. It was crazy, and then I drank it. I was like, oh, it's all right. The custard middle, just like you could smell everything, and that's kind of how this one is. Body's like layer side of medium body, 5.5%, it's fine. The mouthfeel, it's crisp, it's effervescent, it has carbonation, it's a beer. It tastes right up front, I'm hit with generic blonde ale characteristics, which I will say is impressive because these beers, and especially that blueberry matcha IPA, I didn't get really the base IPA portion. It was more about that blueberry character. This one though, the blonde ale right up front, grainy, biscuity, bready. It has the blonde ale kind of base to it. There's even like a slight citrus tone. Passes through the palate. About 3/4 of the way through the palate is where that maple frosting hits. And it hits pretty big. And that's what you're left with on the palate is that maple cream kind of frosting. And it's not bad or anything, but man, this just lacks complexity. A lot of complexity. Like you just get that blonde ale base up front and then the maple frosting on the back of the palate, and that's pretty much it. It's not really bitter at all. There's like a slightly dry finish. But here's the thing. I thought this was going to be sickly sweet to my palate, and it is sweet, don't get me wrong, but it's not like I can drink the rest of this. I don't know if I'm going to want to, though, because this flavor is just kind of just, it's okay. Yeah, the nose was awesome, and the taste is just okay. It's an okay taste. It's not a drain pour for me. It's not too sickly sweet. It's just, it's okay. That's all the best way I can describe it. It's okay. So, yeah, 5.5% too, drinks really easy. I don't know. Blonde ales aren't my favorite to begin with, so maybe I could see somebody picking this up and saying, hey, I like blonde ales. You get the blonde ale kind of base at the front of the palate. You get that maple on the back, and maybe you'd be happy with it. I just am not a huge fan of blonde ales. I love maple. I was hoping this would be more maple-centric or somehow work it into being an actual donut on the palate without being sickly sweet. That'd be crazy if they could do that. They didn't do it for me. So I really liked the Blueberry Matcha IPA. It was weird, it was strange, but it was still pretty damn good. This one just isn't for me, even though I love maple and I love maple dip and maple frosted donuts. This just missed the mark for me. It's not terrible, so I'm not going to give it a terrible rating, but I'm just going to say, try it out for yourself. See if you like it, especially if you like maple anything. I'd be curious to know everyone else's opinion out there. For me, though, I really can't do much better than a high 3 out of 5. I'll go 3.1 out of 5. Like, that's the best I can do. I believe I gave the Blueberry Matcha IPA like a 3.8. Substantially better to me, and I didn't think that was going to be the case. So, price and availability, price point, $18 to $20 for the 12-pack I saw in my area. By the time you see this review, hopefully there's some kicking around if you want to try it. I picked up the 3 that I'm reviewing in a mixed 6-pack at a local Wegmans grocery store. $10.99 for that 6-pack, so each can was like $1.83. That's fine to try each of them. I didn't want to buy the entire pack just because I already have too much beer to drink as is. And availability, wherever you see Harpoon, I guess. I'd imagine these are showing up everywhere that Harpoon gets distribution or most places. So if you've had this one before, please let me know what you think about it. These are so interesting to me, and I like that they're doing this each year. And I'll probably pick them up every single year going forward if they change up the beers within the mix pack. I think the staples are the Dunkin Pumpkin because it comes out for the fall, and then they usually have some variation of their coffee porter and then 2 new beers. So I'll try them out. I still have the Dunkin Midnight, which is a variation on their coffee porter to review, and I'm hoping that one's pretty good because I like the Dunkin coffee porter, but this one just misses the mark. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Hopefully you're drinking something way better than I am right now. Until the next one, cheers.